Hello YouTube world, this is Logic Crazy and I'm Jonathan, and here's yet another tutorial on creating a Java chess engine. So for this tutorial we will be focusing on how to utilize our moves. If you recall, if I were to run this, here is an output of all these moves. These spaces are not to divide up the moves, if you recall. They are actually saying what was captured. So what we want to do is create a procedure which basically takes in, let's say, the 6050 and actually moves that piece. So it takes this P and makes it an empty spot and moves and puts a pawn there, a capital P there. So that's kind of the quick goal of what we're going to do. So we're going to start by making a procedure, and the rough order of this whole procedure thing is sort of as follows. We'll put it after the main, but before possible moves. All right, and we're going to call this procedure public static, and this time it will be a void make move, and it will take in a string called move. Now, I need a T there. There we go. I'm just going to copy this, paste it. It will have an error. And I will call this one undo move. So we will be making moves and undoing them. I will explain more later on why we need to be able to undo a move. But it will be necessary the way I have set this up. And I believe it will be quite logical the way I've set it up. Not necessarily efficient, but logical. All right, so for this making a move, let's say, notice the 6050 at the bottom. Now there's one special kind of move. Remember, in our generation of moves, we had one special case, and that is where the very last spot was a capital P. And we know that a capital P means pawn promotion. It's a unique situation. And no other move will generate a capital P at the end except for a pawn promotion. Because if you remember, this space, when it captures something, it will always capture a lowercase. It could capture a lowercase p, but never a capital P. So when we do our make move, we want to know, are we talking about pawn promotion or not? So what we will do is say if, and then we'll say move. See, we will be receiving, we will be sending 6050 space to make move procedure. So we'll say if move, and then dot char at, and we'll pick 4 does not equal. That's an exclamation mark equals, the not equals, and then whoops, and then capital P, and use single quotes for a character, double quotes for a string. But we're talking about characters, and just this character is well, a string is technically an object in Java, but you can just think of it as characters are one single symbol, and whereas a string is a list of symbols strung together to make a string. Okay, so if it's not a P, then do this, and else do this. So in here I'll put if pawn promotion. Might be simpler if I put it inside visually. So if pawn promotion. So this top part will be for regular moves. And as we evolve, when we add castling and en passants, we will be also screening capital E's for en passants and capital C's for castling. But that will come later. So remember the format for our moves. It happened to be like this. I will just copy this for reference. All right, this is a regular move. X1, Y1 moves to X2, Y2, and then the captured piece. So here's how we would record make move. What we would do is have, we're going to change the chessboard. So we have chessboard, a spot and a spot. Now what? Now this one we're going to make one of them turn into, one of them turns blank and the other one, now, and there will be another one which turns into a different chessboard spot. This is the rough format. And what we're going to basically put in here is say the destination, so X2, Y2 should turn into whatever was at X1, Y1. And then X1, Y1 should be empty. So basically, if this pawn is moving one forward, I take this forward spot and say make it whatever X1, Y1 is, which in this case is a P. That way it works the same for a knight. It'll move a knight from the initial spot to the destination. In this case, it's moving a pawn. So from take the X1 and put it there, and then, now both are pawns, and now take the original X1, Y1 and make it an empty space. So that's pretty much the logic behind there. So how do you just do X1, Y1? Remember, we have received a string, and the string has integers. It could be 1, 2, 3, 4 you could think of. How do you make that 1 into an integer? And here's how you do it. You start with a character, because each one of these, we're only taking one character of a string for each examination. Character dot get numeric value. And then it would be move dot char at 2. I would believe. Move dot char at 2 and 3. 2 and 3 is the destination. Remember that 0 and 1 are the starting. So it does start off at 0. So I'll just quickly put it at in. This one would be a 0 and a 1. Turns into an empty spot. And make sure that you have a space there and they're not just closed. We do want a space. Okay. There should never be a reason that they are closed. Let's see here. All right. So 2 to 3 equals, and it would equal the 0, 1. So I'll actually copy this 0, 1 and paste it right in there. So that equals that. And then we will copy this in, and we now need to do a pawn promotion move. Now, for pawn promotion scenarios, it's slightly different formatting. Just going to get rid of this comment here since we're done. And we're going to look at pawn promotion situations. Now, pawn promotion, this is the format that we have declared. So I'll paste it in there. We can base this off of this. So again, we have this whole chessboard something. This time we can make it an empty spot first. Because remember, a pawn, yes, the format is a little different. And then we'll also have a chessboard equals, there, equals something else. For pawn promotion, let's suppose, for instance, that this was a capital P. Just imagine that. That is one thing about the font that NetBeans uses for default, I should mention. Capital P's and lowercase p's look pretty similar. There are differences. If you notice the space between the line at the bottom and the bottom part of the pdiff, and here you'll notice at the bottom part of this I cursor, see how small the space is versus here. Anyways, there's small differences, but they're pretty hard to tell. Sometimes even the K and the K can be difficult to detect. But anyway, suppose this was a capital P for a pawn that could promote. It might be promoting to capture, it might not. We don't know that. So I just want to demonstrate that there could be scenarios where it captures, could be scenarios where it doesn't. And promotion doesn't always mean going straight up, although it normally does. Sometimes it can be a diagonal capture. But here is our rules. We only have column 1, column 2. That's because we know we go from 1 to 0 on the rows. We know that. So I will set this to 1 and 0. We know that 1 turns into the empty spot. That's where it came from. And 0 is the destination location. So that's the row. Now as for column, what we will put in here is the 0 location. That's column 1. So row 1 down in the pawn's location, 1 over. Or whatever column over. And then column 2 is 1. The second, this is column 2, second one, so that's a 1, starting at 0. And then, don't worry about captured piece, a new piece, but one thing, what does this second one mean? Before, we said it's whatever the original destination was, but now we know it's whatever this new piece is, because it could be a queen, a king, or a queen, a knight, bishop, or a rook. So what we will put in there is, a string, we're now dealing with a string, dot value of, and we will pick in, move, move, dot char at 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. And that's the new piece. So the old piece, old location, empty it, and the new location, set it as whatever the new piece is going to be. So that is how make move works. So what we will do is let's try some basic things here. Right after, right before this possible moves, let's have make move, and notice, let's take any of these. Let's try first the 6050 location. And so we'll put in quotes 6050 space and see what happens if that one pawn went 1 forward. That is because I now need to draw the board. See, the board has moved. Hopefully, this pawn has moved 1 up. So we now need to draw a representation of the board. And to do that is slightly different than you might think. I'll just show you an easy way, because you want to represent this piece and then this piece and then this piece. So I have 8 lines of 8 characters. But it's nice to separate them with square brackets and stuff. So I'll show you the easiest way to print off an array. And because I'm lazy, I will just copy this out. There, let's try this. Just give me a second here. Draw to array, I believe, or main. Alright, copy that. Alright, ignore what all that was about. Nope, cancel. What we first need to do is import java.until.star this thing. And you place this even before the class. And what importing does is, if I haven't mentioned this already, it brings in more features pretty much, and more commands and stuff that you're able to deal with. So this arrays is part of this import library. So what we're going to do is turn this string, and we go for 8 lines. Each line, we print out a new line of that array turned into a string notation. So I will demonstrate how it looks. Notice this. So what it did was it put commas in there, it put spaces, it put square brackets. That's what this whole arrays.toString does, instead of just having a really compact list. Spaces it out a little bit better for reading. Okay, and notice 60 to 50 moved upon. Excellent. Let's take another one. 65 to 55. Now what should that do? 6 down, 5 across, and it should move it, that one up. So I could try it. And there we go. Let's take another one. We want 7, 4, nope. Let's try 7, 6, 5, 7, because this is a unique one. With all these 7s, they're using a knight. 7, 6 to 5, 7. So this knight will move where this pawn went. Put that there and run that. Oh. 7, 6. Yes, 5, 7 moves it here. And then possible moves, you'll now notice, are different because it first made a move and then it came up with possible moves. If I had placed this at the beginning, or reverse order, you'll now notice the list is slightly different. I believe. Or no, never mind. If I change the order here, whoops, I'll just undo all that. If you switch the order of these printing, so print it out, yes, possible moves, and then print it out. There we go. Okay, so we use 6, 7, 5, 7. If we were to use 6, 7, 5, 5, that would of course be the other way. So knight, instead of being here, ends up going there as such. And that is how we do make moves. I will quickly show you how to do the undo move function, although I'll not explain why. I'm just going to copy and paste this, and it's pretty much just a slight modification. And we will try this. So basically in this case, we'll set 0, 1, 0, 1, and we'll set that to 2, 3, I suppose. Let's set that to 2, 3, and then set this as 2, 3. Except, in this case, what we put there is not an empty spot, but rather something similar to this. Character at, but this time it would be a 4, would it be? Yes, this time it would be a 4, because of the notation. So the fourth, or the last character, would be what we're putting back. Because remember, we've written over whatever we captured, and now we need to put back whatever we captured when we undo a move. So that's why we use this capture notation as well. Okay, and then for this one, for the pawn thing, we set this to 0 and 1, all the same, except we put a pawn instead of making empty. We put that pawn back there, and this spot here, let's see, yes, it equals the value at 2. String.value at 2. If I'm just going to quickly undo, you'll notice that 2 is the captured piece. So now I'll just redo all that stuff there, and that should work. I will get rid of, oops, go back to my undo, there we go. Get rid of that comment there. So now when I do in my main a make move and then an undo move, you'll notice the board looks normal. It made a move and it undid it without any issues. So that's all for this tutorial. You now know how to make and undo moves. And until next time, enjoy Java.